Hi, and welcome to episode 108, can you believe it, of the Dinner Sisters podcast. We're two sisters taking on the nightly challenge of dinner. With our friend Tara, of course. I'm Kate Schultz, living and working in Rhode Island. I'm a passionate cook and recipe collector, always thinking about my next meal. And today I'm thinking about the cookbooks we've reviewed, which are the Instant Pot cookbooks by Melissa Clark.
Yes, what a surprise, Kate. What a surprise.
What a fun twist.
I'm Betsy Wallace. I live, work, and raise a family in Atlanta, Georgia. I love dinner time, but can always use help planning and cooking for my family of 5, especially in this global pandemic we find ourselves in. Mm-hmm. And we're here again today with our friend Tara for a cookbook review.
And I am Tara. I'm a photographer with 3 kids and a husband, making it outside of Atlanta currently. I should also add homeschooling my 3 children, quarantined in Atlanta. I love reading and trying out cookbooks, and I am so happy to join you guys this evening.
So fun. Our goal of this podcast, we want to cook a little better, learn a little bit about food, and most importantly, figure out what the heck to have for dinner. And here's how this works with our cookbook reviews. We decided, and Tara actually brought this up, as she usually does. She's our picker, which is so fun, that we were just so in love with Melissa Clark's Instant Pot cookbooks that we would cook from them, share the recipes we cooked, and let you know what we think. I'll make sure to have a link to any recipes that are available online, as well as a link to purchase the cookbooks on our website, which, by the way, is dinnersisters.com.
Okay, Kate, so here's where I run down our previous cookbook reviews.
So many.
If you want to hear our other cookbook reviews, we talked about Small Victories in episode 21, Kachka from episode 31, that's Soviet cooking, Sweet by Odom Yodelengi and Helen Go in episode 38, What's Gabi Cooking in episode 48, Zaytoon, episode 59, Simple Cake in episode 68, Molly on the Range in episode 78, Indianish in episode 88, and Midwest Made was our most recent cookbook review, and that was in episode 98.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Good for us. Good for us. Yes. So despite the fact that we chose these Instant Pot books weeks ago, I think it's such a lovely coincidence that we ended up reviewing Melissa Clark's books all about the Instant Pot. And if you're wondering why I'm using the plural here and before, well, Betsy and I were texting just a little bit ago. And I said, oh, what recipes did you do? And she said, oh, recipes did you do? And I said, I didn't see those. And she's like, I didn't see yours. And I was like, wait. So, fun fact, guys, Melissa Clark has 2 Instant Pot cookbooks, and we had a little cross wires. I did, Betsy did comfort in an instant, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, correct.
Right. And I did dinner in an instant, and Tara read and cooked from comfort in an instant. I was hoping that I was the one who got it right, wrong, but I didn't. So
nope, you
sorry,
definitely got it wrong.
Anyway, that said, you two will talk about the cookbook we were going to talk about, and I'll just talk about her other one.
Kate, it was so funny that we were texting at maybe 7:45, and we always record at 8:30. And I said, oh, I saw you were making some lentils. Did you make the lentil dal? And you said, no, I made this other lentil dish. And I said, that's funny. I didn't see that one. I made these 3 dishes. And you were like, wait a second.
I was like, so.
Yeah. And then we figured it out with 45 minutes to spare before the episode was going to be recorded. So here we are.
Here we are.
So let's start, though, with Comfort in an Instant. And Tara, maybe you can tell us why you chose this book.
Sure. Well, I wanted to try the Instant Pot. I don't own one, and I still don't, to be honest. I borrowed one from my neighbor. And a lot of our listeners have Instant Pots. And I feel like after reading some of our Facebook groups, messages and posts and stuff like that, it seems like people talk about their Instant Pots a fair amount. So I thought, let's give it a try. And to be honest, after trying to find a cookbook, there's not a lot of reliable cookbooks. They're kind of questionable. Instant Pot cookbooks out there, it seemed like, so anyway, I decided to go with Melissa Clark because she's a reliable name in the cooking world. So that's the reason why I chose this one. And as far as, I just like the name Comforting. And like you had mentioned before, it's kind of a, lucky coincidence. Here we are all going through this time right now where we want comforting food. And so, yeah. Anyway, that's the reason why I chose the cookbook.
Yes. So I think there's a lot of Instant Pot cookbooks out there, but written from people who maybe haven't written cookbooks before or who are just kind of, I don't know, that kind of Barnes and Noble sale shelf.
Right. Quick
Instant Pot cookbooks.
TJ Maxx.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I was really happy that you found these books by Melissa Clark, and I didn't know that this was a specialty of hers, and it is, turns out. And from what she wrote in the book, it kind of started with her being assigned the Instant Pot at the New York Times Cooking as an appliance to kind of dig into. So I loved this. I thought it was such a great way to kind of take my Instant Potting to the next level.
Yeah, if listeners at home have not heard of Melissa Clark before or haven't encountered her recipes, she is a pretty big name in the food world, the kind of traditional food world. She's a food writer and cookbook author. She's a staff reporter on the New York Times food section where she writes the popular column A Good Appetite, which is a great one. If you ever read that, it's super fun. She's got a great video series and she's written 38 cookbooks.
It's amazing.
So, yeah. This is she's old hand. She's won a James Beard Award. She's won an IACP award and been selected for the best food writing series. She's a guest on the Today Show. You'll see her on Rachel Ray. She's all over the place. And she's born and raised in Brooklyn. This is from her bio. And she lives there with a husband and daughter. She's got a great Instagram page, which is really fun. And she's doing a lot of things about cooking from home lately with everyone being inside. And then her last thing she says is she loves anchovies, radishes, chicken feet, and lox, but not in that order. And so I think that kind of sums her up. She's very much a home food cook. She certainly uses some more New York ingredients, but I found in Dinner in an Instant, I think you guys probably did too, lots of dinner ideas that are very accessible. Things that are curated, all things I wanted to eat, but nothing that was, not nothing, but very few things that were, out of the realm of possibility to make. So yeah. That's Melissa Clark, Dinner in an Instant. Tara, what was your first impression of comfort in an instant?
This might be hard for you to get that right.
I'll make it work.
So the cookbook itself is small. I just want to say that. It's a small, thin. It's not, well, I shouldn't say thin, but there's 50 recipes, and it's not a thick cookbook. So I was first surprised by the look of the book. Is filled with pictures. She has a whole section at the beginning that kind of gives you the intro to Instant Pot, which was really helpful for me because I had only had one experience with the Instant Pot and it was okay. I'll put it that way. So it was good to kind of read through that first before I tackled the recipes. They look really delicious and they sound delicious and they're very doable. But to be honest, because I always read through the recipe a few times before I start cooking. And I just wondered, is this really going to save me that much time in the Instant Pot? So anyway, that was my first impression before I got started. Betsy, how about you?
So I will say one of my fun things that I did this time is I bought this book on Google Play. Which I just want to mention because I don't have a Kindle.
Okay.
I ended up kind of in that weird time when we didn't know when things were being shut down or not, or what was happening. And I hadn't gotten the book before then. And I thought, and I've never bought a cookbook in an electronic version before. And I thought, okay, I think this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to get this as an ebook. And I ended up getting the Google Play and then downloading the Google Play app to my phone. I am loving this.
Oh, really?
I thought it was so fun. Yes. And it's got this clickable table of contents and I can, there's a section for bookmarking and taking notes and I can jump and I can flip through with my finger and it looks like a page moving and I just want to say,
Betsy's been brought on to the world of ebooks.
Yeah.
yeah, I know, guys.
Well, you know what, Betsy? I am right there with you. I like something physical in my hands. So that's why I'm really interested in hearing how, because even like, for instance, this weekend, I'm going to make some hot cross buns and I know the recipe, but it's online and I want to print it off because I want it in my hand. So this is really interesting to me that you got the ebook.
I got the ebook for this too because I borrowed it from the library.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so one of the nice things is that you can I love borrowing cookbooks from the library on ebook because it's such a simple way of doing it. And then you don't have the books in your house. And then I always forget to return books. And then ebooks in my library system just go away. They're like, you can't have this anymore.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Right.
And I got this on the Kindle. It works a lot of the same way that Google Play does. What I liked, not every cookbook is formatted well for an e-reader. Hers are. So like this, it was one page for like a big, good section of the recipe. It wasn't cut off. The directions are formatted so that the bullets are working. You know, sometimes when you do a PDF or something to a Word document, things get all wonky. This really rendered well is how they say it, like rendering. So it's formatted really well. It's good for an e-reader. I'm sure the printed version is good. And Tara, too, you're right. I liked that these were curated recipes. And it's something that I think we value in our podcast is like, I don't need 100 recipes. Just give me 50 good ones. You know?
Yeah.
And so that was my first impression as well, is that it was really well organized. It was very professionally put together, which was such a relief. And I liked the idea that there were directions on the front. I kind of read through it and was like, oh yeah, that's right. I've been using Instant Pot for a while, so not everything was, it was more of a review, but lots of dinner ideas, lots of things that I bookmarked right away. All right, let's talk about highlights. Betsy, what were your recipe highlights for this?
Okay, so I'm going to go with 2 this time. And the first one is the Risotto Carbonara.
Ooh.
Because she has a fairly decent section on risottos in here in the Instant Pot. Made this. Everyone just really loved it. It was not very hard. It tastes exactly how you think a risotto carbonara might taste, or carbonara.
So what's in that? What it would be if the people haven't had it before?
Is it like bacon and?
Yes. So you you put your Instant Pot on the saute function, which is fun, right? Learn some new skills here. So you saute up the pancetta or the bacon. I used bacon until it's about crisp. You take that out. You stir in the garlic. After that, you stir in the rice, the salt, till it's golden. Put in some wine. And then you put in your stock. And then you put the top on and do your Instant Pot pressure cooking.
Oh, okay.
So and then you manually release, which means you let it physically click over the vent.
Click the clicker.
Yep. It vents all the steam out. Take the top out. Or take the top off. And then you've got your risotto in there. And then after that, you pour in the eggs and the cheese and the bacon and kind of mix it up like you would if you were doing a pasta carbonara. It was delicious. More cheese.
That sounds really good.
More Parmesan cheese, more black pepper at the end. Just like ladled big spoonfuls of that into your bowls and have a glass of wine.
Sounds
we didn't even do a salad. We should have done a salad, and we did not do a salad.
You know what? Live your best life at this point.
Yes.
Bacon, eggs, cheese, carbs. Yeah.
Risotto.
Oh
my gosh.
It is exactly what we needed. And it was delicious. Yeah.
Tara, what did you end up making? What was your highlight?
Well, I'm going to say the highlight is the Bo Ssam. Well, it was pretty. I'll be honest. Some of the recipes in here, and I think this is just because it's Instant Pot, it doesn't come out looking very glamorous. But this one did. And you cook it in the Instant Pot. It's like, I think mine was, I don't know, 7 pounds maybe? I think that's, it was like a 7-pound
pork shoulder, right?
Yeah, but I think mine actually had the bone in it. I kind of did mine a little bit differently because I wasn't aware until I got home that I didn't need a bone in it. But I had my butcher. It was like those big pieces of meat. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that you would probably never buy, and you just look at and you would expect maybe a restaurant buys it, but no, I was buying it. And so I had the butcher cut it into 3 pieces, and she kind of looked at me like, what are you going to do with this thing? You know, so, but anyway, I put it all in the Instant Pot, and I cooked it. And then when it came out, I should also add, you dry brine it in the refrigerator overnight. I think she tells you if you don't have overnight, you can do it in a few hours, but I had overnight. So I put it in the fridge overnight and then put it in the Instant Pot. Then when I took it out, then I added, I think it's just sugar and salt. I think brown sugar and salt on the top, and then you broil it. And that's what makes it so lovely and crispy and beautiful. And then you make like almost like a little vinegar, like scallion. She calls it a ginger scallion sauce. And you put it on the side to cut some of the fat. We kind of used it, but we mostly just ate it just as is. And we had so much of it, I gave it to a neighbor that enjoyed it. So this is for a couple days. So this is something that will last you for several days, which might actually be a great idea to do right now. You know, you don't want to go to the grocery store several times during the week. This is something you could make on the weekend. You could make it the first day of the week, and you're going to have enough pork. You could freeze some of it. You're going to have enough pork that will last you at least a week. Yeah, so it makes quite a bit, but it was beautiful. It was I
love freezing a roasted pork situation.
Yes, because there's so much you could do with it. Yeah.
That sounds amazing, Tara. I did something a lot quicker because I have used the Instant Pot a ton. I've done a lot of roasts and things in it, and I was like, you know, they're great. But I was like, I wanted to try something a little different. Also had a different book than you guys. So in Dinner in an Instant, she has a mussels recipe. I love a mussel. I didn't know if I go to the grocery store if I find them, but I told myself if I found mussels at the fish section, I would buy them, and there's like 1 bag left. So I grabbed the bag of mussels. It was so good and so easy. It's just saute the onions that are sliced, a little bit of garlic, pour in the beer, dump in your clean mussels, and then Instant Pot pressure cook it for a minute only.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so you just like zap it once, vent it, so manual release, and then you pull out all the mussels, pile them in a bowl, and then you add butter into that kind of sauce to kind of thicken it with some parsley, and pour that over the mussels, and just serve it with a bunch of sliced bread, which is what I did for dinner. And mussels are like my comfort food in a lot of ways. Just like a big bowl of mussels with some bread on the side. You're just dipping it in. And I was
that sounds so good.
Like happy as a little mussel or clam, you know, eating those. And it's such a it feels like a celebratory thing. I could see making this as like a fun, it only makes enough in your Instant Pot really for maybe 2, maybe 3 people. Or if you're having it with other things. But it went so quick. It was great, and I would do it again in an Instant Pot. And I think a lot of people will probably do this on the stovetop for mussels. I didn't grow up making mussels or anything like that, so, you know, I was like, this is great. It was really simple, really easy, and just a solid recipe. Go ahead.
Kate, I will tell you another section that I really loved in this comfort in an instant is the breakfast section. I don't know, Tara, if you cooked out of this at all.
I wanted to, but I did not because it seemed like it took a long time, to be honest.
I'll tell you, now that we're homeschooling, we are a little bit less rushed in the morning. So I decided one of the days to do this quinoa porridge with brown butter almonds.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that because that was earmarked as one that I wanted to try.
It was so good. So I'll tell you how you do this. You use the saute function and you melt a little butter. And then I didn't have almonds. I have walnuts. So you're just kind of browning your butter with a little buttery nut topping is what you're making, essentially. So I chop my walnuts and I put them in there instead of the almonds. And then when those are done getting delicious in the brown butter, you just scoop them out. Then you add in your rinsed quinoa. And then you make it with almond milk and a little bit of salt. pressure cook that for 10 minutes, manually release. You take the quinoa, you top it with your buttery brown butter walnuts or almonds, a little drizzle of maple syrup, and some berries if you would like, she says. It was so good.
I'm super jealous.
It was just so delicious. And I loved every single recipe in this breakfast section.
Yeah.
I thought, what a
she's
treat.
got some good ones. And there's not that many. Like there's not, I think I'm counting maybe like 7 or 8 recipes in the breakfast section, but they are all solid looking recipes.
I did. Yeah. The one right before that is breakfast polenta with dried apricots and cinnamon. I mean, just all things that if you have a little extra minute because you're home now and you're maybe like just commuting from your kitchen to your living room desk.
Which is what's happening to me every day.
You could maybe make yourself like a breakfast polenta with dried apricots and cinnamon, and it would be such a treat. So I thought, what a fun chapter for this
I'm going to maybe just eat that on my video calls because my video calls are starting at 8. Not okay, kids. This is supposed to be relaxing for everybody.
Yes.
Oh, well, I don't know.
Well, I think it should be relaxing.
I wish it was more relaxing, but maybe that's never mind.
We're all making it work.
So what else did you make, Tara?
Well, okay, so I made ginger meatballs with Swiss chard. That was probably our second favorite. That was very good. It was not pretty. The Swiss chard, it kind of wilts down, but everybody really liked it. My whole family enjoyed it. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is we made lentils. We made the Middle Eastern lentils, and those were very good. I mean, it made quite a bit. So we had those leftovers for a couple of days, and those reheat really well. But yeah, I mean, overall, like just another really solid recipe.
Yum. I made lentils too, actually, from the other book, which was a different version, which is some green lentils and sausages.
Oh.
Which you cooked all at the same time, which I thought was fun. So you could saute your onions and your garlic, throw the lentils in, throw the water in, and that was all on the bottom with little smoked paprika. And then on the top, on the steamer rack, you put your sausages. And so then when you're cooking the lentils and sausages at the same time, that all gets steamed at once.
Oh, okay.
So super delicious.
Yeah.
And a fun, like, one pot meal, because then you just dump out the lentils, put the sausages on top, and it was really, really good. I could not find any fresh sausage. It was just pre-cooked sausage that was left in the store, and I used that, and it worked great. I'd love to make it again when we have more regular grocery deliveries and things like that, but it was really good. Betsy, what was your other things that you made?
So I made some of the stocks, which I experimented with because a lot of the recipes, she says, make the chicken stock, make the beef stock, make the vegetable stock. Or you can, of course, use store-bought, but it really was a foundation. I felt like in a lot of her recipes was use the stock from that you've made. So I thought I would try some of those. And I had not ever I've made chicken and beef, kind of a bone broth in the Instant Pot before, but I'd not made a vegetable stock. And so I followed her directions for that. And there was even a tomato in there, which I thought was interesting. And some celery, carrots, peppercorns, those kind of things. And then you just cook it up for 20 minutes. And I thought that was kind of nice. I think some of us it's hard to tell how many groceries you should have on hand right now. So that was an easy way for me to use up a couple of the kind of vegetable odds and ends and make this stock out of it. And so I appreciated that she had really clear directions and just good guidance on that, because I think that is something, making a pressure cooker stock is one of the fundamental skills and things you can do with a pressure cooker. So I liked that she had that little section in her book.
Did anybody try the desserts? I don't know if you had desserts in yours, Kate, but
I did.
Okay.
I do not have an extra sealing ring for my Instant Pot. I keep thinking I should get one. My Instant Pot definitely has a meat tinge to it, unless I really, really, really clean it. And I was honestly feeling lazy, so
well,
I did not end up making any desserts.
Well, there were some couple interesting sounding desserts that were in the back that I did not get a chance to make, but I was just curious if anybody had a chance to tackle the dessert section.
Yeah, on my list, I didn't make any desserts. On my list, she had a bunch of yogurt ideas.
Oh, okay.
So make like a coconut yogurt, or how to make regular yogurt in your Instant Pot. And I was like, oh, so that might be on my list of things to do. Maybe get another one of those sealers and, or just spend more time cleaning, get less lazy. One of the two. Betsy, do you have anything left on your list?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I really loved about this book was that there was so much in here that I thought that I could make and be really happy with. So I think I will be cooking a lot out of this book in the coming weeks, to be honest with you. Because even that risotto section, there were a couple in there. There was a bulgur risotto that I thought looked delicious. There were just so many different things that I thought looked great. And that whole breakfast section I wanted to dive a little bit more into. And you're right, Tara, there's a whole dessert section. And I have not ever made a cheesecake in my Instant Pot. And I thought maybe I would do it for this review. And then, as we all know, things sort of fell apart in between when we decided to cook out of this cookbook.
It sure did.
In an epic way, in a very epic way. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the ginger lemon cheesecake, that just sounded so good to me. Yeah. So anyway, let me know if you do end up trying any of the desserts, Betsy.
Yeah, I will. And I would be curious to see, I know there are people in our Facebook group and who listen to the podcast who have cooked desserts in their Instant Pot. So that will be a fun thing to hear from other people as well.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Please let us know. Post your dessert experiments in the Instant Pot and on our Facebook group, because I would love to see them. Because in my head, it doesn't go together.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to compute.
Cooking and cheesecake or lava cakes, but I guess it does.
All right. How about final judgment, Betsy? What do you rate it? Should we buy it? What do you think?
Yes.
I mean, you bought it, but should other people buy it?
Yeah, I bought it, obviously. But if you have an Instant Pot that you are just sort of not really taking full advantage of, this might really light a fire and get you started in a really great way. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tara, what do you think?
Well, per usual, got this from the library the day before the library closed. So I was very thankful for that. So I now have it for a while, but, unfortunately, I don't have an Instant Pot. I never, so I made these in February, these recipes, and I borrowed it from my neighbor, and I don't know. I don't know. I'm still on the fence. I really enjoyed using the Instant Pot, but I think if you do have an Instant Pot, I think this is definitely a great, great cookbook to have on hand, because like Betsy said, like everything in here seems to be it's comforting. I mean, it's exactly what the title says. It's comforting food. And so anyway, if I had the Instant Pot, I would definitely get this book.
Yeah. Even if you don't get the comfort food book, let's say you pick the wrong,
just for instance.
Just, as a thought experiment. Even those recipes I thought were really comforting, and I'm going to buy this book. I'm going to buy it, digitally. I'll probably buy Comfort in an Instant too. Cause I have the Instant Pot and I'm always looking for really solid recipes. I feel like, so to be honest with the podcast, I spend so much time searching for recipes. The last thing I want to do for the other recipes I cook is do more of that searching. So I rely on cookbooks a lot for my other dinner ideas. And so to have some solid Instant Pot ideas, to me, would just be great. And that quinoa porridge, Betsy, man, so good.
Kate. You need to make this.
I sure do. And I think you're right, Tara. I totally agree. If you have an Instant Pot, get this book. It's worth it. And I think if you know of someone who maybe just bought an Instant Pot, or they're getting one for Christmas or a birthday or those Black Friday sales, this is a fun gift to give someone to really get them started and get them going.
Yes. Or maybe your neighbor across the street has one.
Yeah.
And you could just surprise them and buy them this cookbook, and it would show up on their doorstep since you cannot hand it to them in person. What a nice care package.
I love it. I love it. Tara, thanks again for joining us. We just love having you on these cookbook reviews.
I love doing this with you guys. It is a highlight for me. So thank you for having me.
Yes.
Okay, that's what's for dinner this week in our special episode. See you next time on The Dinner Sisters. We'll save a spot at the table for you.
Would you like a little dinner in your inbox every week? Subscribe to our newsletter by going to our website at dinnersisters.com. We've got all the show notes, grocery lists for episodes that need it, and other fun stuff. If you have some dinner ideas or even a cookbook idea, you can always send us an email at dinnersisterspodcast@gmail.com. We love getting emails or instant messages, or really literally anything now that we're stuck in our houses. So, talk to us. Or maybe just me. Maybe I'm the one who's going nuts. I can't tell. Lastly, as per usual, if you like what you're hearing, please review and subscribe. You have time now. Review us. That's how people get to know us. Thanks, and happy eating.